Welcome to JAAK News at 5 p.m. I hope you have been having an amazing evening. Today, we are going to be presenting two big stories. Now here's Josh Blado with our weather predictions.
As you can see, it is going to be a pretty warm week. Monday has 40% chance of precipitation, which we are expecting rain later that evening. No big rain threats this week. Otherwise, go out and have fun, swim, tan, and enjoy your hot weather. Back to you, Ashton.
Thank you, Josh. Looks like a great week. Now, today, for our first story, we have a very interesting one. A man by the name Stefan Cohen was falsely accused of a very serious murder. Now, we have Caden Kelly with our story.
On May 30th, 1997, an officer of the Boston Police was shot twice with his own weapon in the backyard of a house in Jamaica Plain, following a struggle with an unidentified assailant. The assailant fired an additional shot into a person standing in the second floor window. The suspect did flee from the scene, leaving a baseball hat. Shortly after, he forcibly entered a nearby home and stopped to drink a glass of water. The assailant then ran from the home, leaving the gun and a sweatshirt he had been wearing. Here's Stephen Cohen's humiliated with nothing to do about it. Imagine yourself in this situation. The government had already made up their mind and he couldn't persuade them otherwise. Now you may ask, how did they allegedly identify him? The injured police officer allegedly identified Stephen Cohen's from a picture of 8 photos taken. Now here's a brief message from our sponsor.
Cheerios, a part of your balanced breakfast.
Welcome back to JAAK News at 5. Stephen Cohen was very wrongfully convicted. He served 6 years in prison for that very crime that he had nothing to do with. After 6 whole years, he was finally freed. They then examined a white sweatshirt that was on scene and recognized that it wasn't Cohen's. They then re-examined the fingerprint that was on the mug that was before identified as Stefan. It revealed that it wasn't Cohen's DNA. On January 23rd, 2004, Stephen Cohen walked out of prison into his family's embrace. Years later, he was found dead in his own home. Police said that he had been shot to death, and an investigation is continuing.
Wow, there are so many parts to that story. Police are still on an investigation on how and why DNA testing could have gone so wrong. It does make you think, should it be funded, or how much does it even cost? How long does it even take? Here we have Anna Malberg to answer all those questions.
Thanks, Ashton. We here at JAAK News have made a decision on our preference for DNA testing if it should be funded by taxes. We think that it could be funded by taxes, but the taxes should not be raised any higher because of it. The DNA testing costs $1,000 per test. It can also take 24 to 72 hours per person, depending on the specific needs in the test. The JAAK News team does not personally think that the government should have a DNA database. It is an invasion of personal information and can make a lot of things get messed up.
Well said, Anna. Well said. Thank you for listening to our story about Stefan Cohen, and please stay tuned for our other story about gene therapy. But first, a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to JAAK News at 5 p.m. Now for our final story, we will explain what gene therapy is and how it works. Anna, back to you.
Gene therapy isn't something you hear about very often. It is the transplantation of normal genes in place of missing or defective ones in order to correct genetic disorders. Gene therapy isn't something you just get to do. It is a very rarely performed procedure, and only specifically bad cases get to have gene therapy.
Wow! I've personally never heard of a case of gene therapy. How much has the technology of it been evolved? Josh, can you tell us a little bit more about gene therapy?
Of course, Dashkin. The technology of it is pretty much already advanced. The procedure is called acoustic shear aeration. Electrophoresis uses ultrasound waves and focused mechanical force to create nanoscale holes or pores in the cell membrane that are big enough for large macromolecules or nanoparticles to pass into the cell's interior. From there, they switch out or place the new genes.
Gene therapy is only currently available in a research setting. It has been successful in both severe combined immune deficiency, or SCID, and ADA. It costs patients $750,000 for the first year of treatment, and an additional $375,000 each additional year.
Now here's Kate and Kelly with our interviews about gene therapy and why it can be good or bad. Our first interviewer is Steve Harvey on why he thinks it's a good thing.
Thanks, Ashton. Here we have Ava Johnson. She has an opinion on how gene therapy can be a good thing. Thank you, Kate and Kelly, for having me on the show and letting me voice my own opinion. Gene therapy can save so many lives. Just a procedure that is performed by a well-practiced doctor can save so many lives from life-threatening genetic diseases. It doesn't matter if it's only in a research setting. The procedure is still going to be performed by a well-practiced professional. Thanks, Ava Johnson. We have another perspective on this topic with another interview. Now we have Steve Harvey.
Thank you for having me on the show and voice my opinion. Now, gene therapy can be a very dangerous act and can be easily messed up. Also, depending on what the specifics are, people can argue that you should stay the way you were born, unless that gene is very life-threatening. Obviously, gene therapy isn't even completely approved. It is only in a research setting.
Thank you, Steve Harvey. We appreciate all your opinions. Astrid?
Thanks for watching, everybody, and make sure you tune in tomorrow for our very special show where we have Buzz Lightyear on. Also, make sure to check out our website. Alright, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
No, put that down. Three, two, one.
Wait, you want me to redo the last line?
No, the whole entire thing.
The assailant fired an additional shot into it. Shortly after, he then... Shortly after, he forcibly entered... Shortly after, he did...
God damn! Welcome back to JAAK News. I forgot.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Play it.
Okay, he's talking to it. Turn it around so then it doesn't show that our microphone is broke. There you go. It's pink. Alright.
I don't know. Oh my god, I'm gonna kill you.
Okay. I can't see.
Oh, come. Yeah, you. Jesus.
Furry alert.
I think that's enough. I think that's enough.